I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison.
That's Virginia Giuffre, Jeffrey Epstein's most prominent victim. A woman who spent decades trying to warn the world about what was happening behind closed doors, in mansions, on private islands, and in the homes of some of the most famous, powerful people on the planet. And now, she's gone. But before she died, she left something behind. And what's come out since? It's pointing fingers at people you would never expect, including someone who spent years telling the world to be kind. Stay with me, because this one goes deep. For anyone who doesn't know the name, Virginia Giuffre was the central figure in exposing Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking network. A news anchor broke the story of her passing like this.
Virginia Giuffre, the most prominent victim of the late convicted Jeffrey Epstein, took her own life on Thursday. This is just weeks after she made headlines for saying that she had days to live after she claimed to have been hit by a bus.
Her family released a statement saying she was, quote, a lifelong victim of abuse and trafficking. She was 41 years old, a mother of 3. And here's what makes this so tragic. Virginia didn't just survive what happened to her. She fought. She cooperated with the FBI. She took legal action against Epstein in 2015. She named names. She sat in rooms with investigators and told them everything. She was recruited at just 16 years old, working as a locker room attendant at Mar-a-Lago, when Epstein's then-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, approached her. From that moment, her life was never the same. Virginia wasn't the only one, and she knew that. In one recording, you can hear her talking to investigators, raw, unscripted, trying to hold herself together.
I've talked to many other girls, and a lot of things have happened, okay? Mm-hmm. So, just take a deep breath.
I'm trying. It's just I'm not that type of person. That's why I was so.
And I understand that, and that seems to be a case with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Okay, either they need cash quickly, and they fall into this rut.
Mm-hmm. That's the trap, right? It wasn't always force at first. It was opportunity. It was money. It was a powerful man in a world that told these young girls they were lucky to be noticed. And then it became something else entirely. Marina Lacerda, who for years was known only as victim number 1 in court documents, finally spoke publicly about what happened to her. She was just 14 when she was first brought to Epstein.
I think with Jeffrey Epstein, it starts somewhere, but then it ends with either you having sex with him, whether you like it or not.
And when she got older, around 16 or 17, Epstein dropped her, just like that. His exact words?
He's like, you're too old. I don't want you anymore.
Read that again. Too old at 17. Another victim described her experience on what she called the island.
Repeatedly, I was 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being over and over and over again.
She added something that should stop every single person in their tracks.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being raped. I was 10. That is how long this trafficking ring has been going.
Here's what people need to understand. This wasn't a one-man operation. Virginia said it herself.
It took a lot of people involved. It took doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists. All these people knew what was going on, hairstylists. I mean, the list goes on. I could keep going on and on and on. Drivers, chauffeurs, butlers, housemaids. It took all of these people turning a blind eye, which they weren't blind to because we were right there blatantly in front of them. They knew exactly what was going on.
Think about that list. Doctors, dentists, drivers, people who had every opportunity to say something, do something, call someone. And they didn't. And it wasn't just the people in those houses. Epstein's emails, 18,000 of them from his personal Yahoo account, obtained by Bloomberg News, paint a picture of a man who was deeply embedded in elite society. Scientists, financiers, politicians. One email exchange between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell literally has them joking about whether they prefer lewd and lascivious conduct or procuring minors. These are real emails. This is what was being said. Another email thread discusses what appears to be coded language about young women, referring to them as white sharks, and describing, and I quote, an aquarium full of girls on his Caribbean island. This is the world Virginia Giuffre was trying to expose. Shortly before her death, Virginia's memoir was released, and it is, by all accounts, harrowing. In it, she describes being sent by Epstein to a man who, in her words, abused her.
A man who raped me more savagely than anyone had before.
She describes being choked until she lost consciousness. She describes a man who, quote,
took pleasure in seeing me fear for my life.
In the U.S. edition of the book, she refers to this person only as
a prime minister.
She doesn't name him. Her co-author explained why. It shouldn't be up to survivors to name these people publicly. It should be the authorities, which is why there are growing calls to release all of the Epstein files. Virginia does name two people directly, Epstein himself and Prince Andrew, who she says she had encounters with in multiple locations, including Epstein's Island and Ghislaine Maxwell's London home, where that now infamous photo of the two of them was taken. Okay, here's where things get uncomfortable for a lot of people. For years, Ellen DeGeneres was America's sweetheart, the be kind lady, the daytime talk show queen. But cracks started appearing. Staff members came forward describing a toxic, even terrifying work environment behind the scenes of her show. One comedian put it bluntly.
What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life.
That's not just a mean boss story. That's a pattern of behavior hidden behind a carefully constructed public image. And then people started connecting other dots. Ellen was publicly and closely associated with multiple figures who are now either convicted or under serious scrutiny. She had a well-documented friendship with P. Diddy, someone now facing his own serious federal charges. One commentator said it plainly.
She was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
And then there's the timing of her departure from the U.S. Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, reportedly fled to rural England after the 2024 election, putting their Montecito mansion on the market and telling friends they planned to never return. Officially, the stated reason was Donald Trump winning the election. Ellen had been a vocal Trump critic for years. But here's the thing people are asking online. Why now? Why so permanent? Why so sudden? The Epstein files are being released in waves. The Diddy case is unfolding. And one of Hollywood's most protected figures quietly leaves the country. Is it political? Maybe. Is there more to it? That's the question everyone's asking. Now, and this is important, there is no confirmed, verified evidence directly linking Ellen DeGeneres to Epstein's trafficking network. What exists are questions, associations, and a timeline that a lot of people find hard to ignore. But the broader point stands. The world Virginia Giuffre tried to expose was one where powerful, famous, beloved people enabled or ignored unspeakable things because their public image made them untouchable. Virginia said it herself.
The justice system failed us then. I believe they're going to do something amazing for us now.
She believed in accountability. She died before she got to see it. Here's what I keep coming back to. Virginia Giuffre spent years being dismissed, being called a liar, being dragged through court. She settled cases, she fought, she testified, she wrote a book. And in her final days, after being hit by a bus, She told the world she had days to live. And still, people doubted her. She's gone now. But the files aren't. The emails aren't. The testimonies of dozens of victims aren't. And the questions about who knew, who participated, who looked away, and who is still being protected, those aren't going anywhere either. One victim said something I think we all need to sit with.
Everyone's turned a blind eye in the place where I was supposed to be protected, in my country where I was supposed to be protected.
That's not just about Epstein. That's about every institution, every celebrity, every powerful person who made a choice to look away, to stay silent, to protect their reputation over protecting a child. Virginia Giuffre is gone, but the truth she spent her life fighting for, that's still being uncovered, piece by piece, file by file, email by email. She wanted accountability. The least we can do is keep asking the hard questions she was brave enough to ask first. So I want to know, do you think the full Epstein client list will ever be made public? And if it is, are we actually ready for what's in it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you think this story deserves more attention, share this video. Because the best thing we can do for people like Virginia is make sure the world doesn't forget.